Hello everybody and welcome to episode 7 of the Level Builder tutorial series. So we're going to be improving the graphics today. So I just went on to opengameart.org and we are going to be downloading some images. So right off the bat I'm just going to drag that down here so we can actually open this with our game file. Alrighty. So all we're going to need to do is drag that in here for now, and actually at this point I can simply get rid of that. So we actually have each of our images in a separate sprite. So what we need to do is go into edit image, and then we actually need to get each image. Now I just need to zoom in here to make sure, yep, I have it correct. So I'll just press Control C, edit image, Control V, and then actually I can just place that right on top. Perfect. And then you see we have image 2. So what I can actually do is go in here, edit image, and then collect this right here. So Control C, and then get in here. Okay, Control V. Okay, it's not working. Okay, I can just press that though and then get it. Oh, whoops, I screwed up. Let me see here. Okay, perfect. So, just by doing that for a few seconds, our game should already look quite a bit nicer. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer than before. Okay, the only other thing to download is sheet1.png by DravenX, and basically that's going to give us the other image we need, which is this specific brick right here, that specific tile. And then we're going to do the same thing that we did here. We're just going to copy the brick we want and put it inside sprite wall. So we have the new bricks already set up, but we also need to change the player because of course this little gray thing doesn't work. But we have a limitation. Usually humanoid sort of figures are, well, not specifically, but in general proportions they're like twice the height that they are the width. So our game actually has some limitations in that term because our grid is set up right now so it's 32 by 32 no matter what, and there's really no way around it. So we're just gonna have to have a square player for now. Of course in the future we're gonna see how this works out, and then maybe we can actually create a character that fits this and looks nice enough to fit into this 32 by 32. So we're gonna need to download this and this from a platformer in the forest, like little set of things. Okay, so we have everything we need here, but we should probably just rename these real quick because they're not that useful right now. Tile set 1. So for the player, this is going to be a little bit more complicated because we need to take a bunch of different sprites. So what we can do is we can go one by one and get all the sprites we need, because there is going to be just a normal running sprite. But first we can look and see exactly what's going on here. So we're going to want the one in the middle. I don't really want the naked guy. And we just want the king. And with the king we can maybe have a cool story. Like maybe there's some sort of, because like we have kind of like castle blocks right here. If I just press space, like these are kind of like castle blocks, and then as we get more blocks we can make it so you can actually maybe even build like actual castles. And then, well, obviously we have a king right here, so we can do something interesting. But we do have 2 other characters that maybe we can include in the game as something else, or actually 3. We have a snake right here. We could include that as a sort of enemy. It all kind of seems a little bit like Spelunky to me. But anyways, what we can do is actually take the first second of that and copy that and have that, and then let me see, we can just Control P. Okay, now the king is a lot smaller than the actual image, so what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get rid of the background here. Okay, I'll just do this manually for this first one, but from here on we won't need to do this. Okay. Alright, after looking through these, it looks like we can use this as the next walking sprite. I think there's like some sort of reason to why it is the way it is, but I'm not good with pixel art or anything, so I'm just gonna take what I think looks like the second. Actually, alrighty. I'll need to make sure this is in the right spot. Okay, kind of seems to be. And then actually, since I'm taking this one, wherever it is, we're also gonna need to take a third one. So let me just find where that is real quick. Okay, is it this one? Yes. Then I can just take this one, and this actually goes up a pixel, so I need to remember that. And then place that, and then place this. Okay. Okay, so if we play this, we can actually see what it looks like, and I need to delete the extra frames. Seems like we'll only need 4. Let's turn down the speed. Alrighty. You can actually see an ear in one of these or something poking out. I'm not sure if we'll keep that. We can edit this, of course. And yeah. But I mean, for now it seems to be okay. So actually, let's just go in the level and then place it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. In order to test to see how this all looks, we're gonna have to set the full image for the collision mask. So this is gonna actually make things kind of messy because, of course, we really shouldn't be colliding right here and right here with any objects. But we do need it in order for it to work right now. So let's try it out. Okay, I can just place, and then let's play. Okay, so we got a little king running around. It's quite fast, and it doesn't look exactly perfect. And when we stop, nothing happens. Okay, now we just need to copy this image and mirror it to the other side, so he can run the other direction. So we'll just duplicate this, and we'll rename it to player 1 left. And we should rename this to player 1 right. Okay, so we can just edit the image, and then we can go to image, mirror, all frames. So now we can be running in the opposite direction as well. So all we need to do is go back inside here and see if they're running left or right. So then we can just do sprite index equals, so if they're running left, then we want to do SBR player left, and then we can just copy that, put that here, and then they're running to the right. Okay, we're also gonna just want to set up a quick image speed, and we can set that to 1 for now. It's gonna be probably too fast, but we can just try it out. Okay, now when I press P, we have the player running in both directions. If he is not doing either running left or running right, we can just set up image speed equals 0 as a base case. But if he is, then we can reset the image speed equal to 1 and equal to 1. Okay, there's one other thing we're going to need to download. It's a joysticks font, so it's basically a nice sort of pixely kind of font, and it should work well in our game. So in order to do this, we're going to need to download it and place it, and we'll actually have to install it to the computer itself. Okay, so in order to do that, you just right click and install. It's pretty simple. And then inside GameMaker, we can access it directly by doing that. So all we need to do is create a new font. I'll name this FNT_main, and then we need to try to find it. Joysticks, A, B, C, D, F, G, joysticks. Here we go. So now the way fonts work in GameMaker is a little bit different than what you might be used to. You can't just do font main.size equals 12 or equals 18. So the actual font itself needs to have a specific size. And if you need the font to be a different size, you're going to have to make another font object, basically, that has that size of font. So we can just use 12 for now. That should be good enough. And then inside controller game edit, we can just do draw set font FNT main. So basically what we're going to be adding is on the left side of the screen, we're going to have the name of all the blocks. So it's going to be ground, wall, player, and then whatever else we add. And basically what will happen is whenever we press space, whichever one becomes selected will turn red, and then the rest will be white or some other color. And yeah, so basically as we press space, we'll go through each of them so we can visually see which one we currently have selected. And then the text will disappear after a certain amount of time, but if you press space again, it'll reappear, so then you can see all of the blocks in the order that they go in. So hopefully it should give people some more tools to work with so they actually know what they're selecting, because right now you kind of just have to place blocks and delete them if it's the wrong one. So now in order to store the name of all the variables or the name of all the blocks, we're going to be needing to do global block names. So in order to get our code going, we're going to want to go inside the controller camera, and we're actually going to want to copy some of this code. This will actually be very helpful for us, so it'll be good to have. So we need to go inside the draw, and we need to store this actually inside the create event, not inside the draw. So again, we want to keep track of the camera and also the X and Y variables for the camera. I can copy this and I can put that there. So the current camera location. Because we want to keep track of where the camera is, we want to know where to place this text, and we want to place it right about here. So you might have also noticed that I have a for loop here now. Basically what this is doing is it's getting the length of the array, and then it's just going through every value that it can. And actually, now that I think about it, we need to set I to 1 because we don't want to display the sky. So for now, we can just do draw text, let me think, X, or actually XX, YY, minus I times 16. And then of course we can just do string global block names I, and try that out. See what exactly happens. And actually we're gonna want to do plus now that I think about it, because we want it to be going down. And remember the I values go down. So as you can see, we have ground, wall, and player. Perfect. But does it move around when we move around? Let's see. Yep, it always stays. So that's actually a really good start. Let's also try this out. So I'm thinking we just do a simple if statement to see if it's the currently selected one. if I equals global dot current selection, then what we do is we draw set color equal to C red. Otherwise, we just set the color to C gray. Perfect. Now let's see if this works. It's a lot of debugging right now. So yes, that works perfectly. Ground, wall, and player. Alrighty. So, we have all that set up, but do we exactly want it like this? Well, I'm thinking we start at the exact top. Let's see if we can get this to work. So minus 16. So basically, or actually we can just do I minus 1 times 16 instead. Because we want to start at 0, not at 16. And we're starting the loop at 1. So, this might be too high up. Or not. And I'm thinking that we should be able to fill this out. We should have just about that many blocks. That would make a full sort of game. But yes. We might also want to comment this because this is a lot going on. Block names displayed. And also, I'm thinking we do one more little special thing. Everybody likes the fonts to look pretty nice. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to actually draw it again. But we need to do this before this. And we actually have a little offset. So basically what we need to do is draw set color to black. Or actually dark gray will look better because black is the color of the background right now. So let's see if this works. 1 pixel offset might be a little bit too little. You can kind of see it, but it might be better to also have 2 pixels off. Let's try that. Again, it's just a lot of debugging, seeing what looks nice, what doesn't. And yeah, that kind of pops a lot more than what we had before. Yeah, dark gray might not be the perfect color. Or gray, on the other hand, might not be either. Is there a light gray? Yes. Let's see if this looks good. Okay. It looks okay for now. Now what we need to add is a timer. And this timer will count down so we can see when we need to get rid of the text on the side or create the text on the side. So we're going to want to go inside the key press space event, and we're going to just want to create timer text equals timer text reset. So basically this is going to reset the timer that we're just about to create inside the create event. And actually we're going to want to set the timer text reset equal to how many seconds do we want it up there? 2 times room speed. So 2 seconds it'll display until it disappears every single time the person presses space. And then inside the step event we can just do timer handling, and then I need to see the name of it again. Timer text. So if timer text is greater than 0, timer text minus minus, else timer text equals 0. Okay, so then all we need to do is go back inside the draw event, find all of this, and then just say if timer text does not equal 0, then we can do all of this. We can display GUI information on blocks, because that's all this is. So let's see if this works. Alright, so it already appears, which is a problem. Alright, so we should also just set this to 0, because we don't want it displaying right away. The color black that we've been using is not really going to cut it for the background, so I'm thinking that we change the background up. And we can just have a basic color. We can really choose just any color, because I think what we should do is actually create an actual background. So how it's going to work is that we're actually just going to draw a sprite right behind everything else. And actually it does look pretty nice. And we can actually have the sprite only be the size of the screen, because of course I don't want to make a sprite, and I don't think any artist wants to make a sprite that's actually this big. So just like Mario, just like most 2D games, you sort of have a background and it's like a mountain or something really far away. And yeah, so first, in order to do this, we need to figure out our view, how big the screen actually is. So the width is 512 and the height is 288. So you can either make your own image or use the one that I'm going to use. So I did manage to find a new background that we can use, and it also has some other sprites, so we're going to all need to be downloading this. Of course, you can use your whatever background you want, but we're going to be needing some of these objects in the future. So I'll just place these once it downloads, and I'll show you again how to unzip them and actually place them in the level. So we just need the images, and wow, do we get a lot. I'll just take this, and I'll take this. Those are the only two that we'll need. They have it all separated out for us, but we don't need that. Okay, I'll move these two over. We can delete that, and we can open GameMaker and place them in if it'll let us. So place those two in, and we don't need these anymore because GameMaker itself actually has its own directory that it saves all these images in. And of course, we'll want to rename these to something that can be useful. SPR tileset 5. Saving it real quick. And we can rename this to SPR background. So what I'm thinking we will need to have in the future is a bunch of different backgrounds, because we're probably going to want the player to actually be able to choose their own background for their level, and then when someone else plays that level, they can play the level and they can have that different background, you know, already selected and set up. So what we can do is we can give players a few different backgrounds to select from, kind of like Mario Maker does, and then inside their computer itself they're already going to have all these backgrounds installed. It's just a matter of them opening the .txt file, or actually GameMaker opening that txt file, reading which background it is. So it's not actually the most difficult of things to implement. We'll just need to set it up as another value in the array. But for now, what we can do is we can just create a background object. Now, why would we do that? Well, we're going to have much more functionality for this background in the future. We might do all kinds of crazy cool things. So what we can actually do is just drag that in right there, and then inside the level we can delete this assets layer, and we're actually going to want this in a new layer. We're going to want it basically below everything else. Rename layer to background. Actually, let's just do main background, not to get confused with the background layer, which we will leave in just in case someone somehow gets past this. So what we can do is we can drag this in. Okay, so in order to get this image to work, we're going to need to scale the image down. So if I just scale it down like that, down to 512, we can see how it looks inside the level. Okay, so that's about right. We don't need to have the bottom there. We can just have it like that for now, and if it turns out to be a problem, then we can fix it then. But we're going to need to add a little bit of code inside of here. So inside the create event, we're going to need to get that information that we get from the camera once again. We need to know which camera we're dealing with, and we need to get the X and Y values of the camera. So inside the draw begin event, we're actually going to be needing to place the X equals camera get view X of C, and also the Y get to view Y of C. So now let's try this out. So there you go. It works exactly. Thank you for watching, and we're making the game look a lot nicer.